Ariel Helwani at UFC 143 in Las Vegas alongside Carlos Condit, who meets Nick Diaz this Saturday night live on pay-per-view. And Carlos, thank you for the time. Good to see you again. First things first, what have you thought about primetime? I thought we got to see a whole different side of you, family side. Met your father, your son, your wife. Have you enjoyed it?
I think the shows came out great. Filming for the show, on the other hand, it's not really my favorite thing to do. But for the most part, they were just kind of following me around doing what I was going to be doing anyway.
You're a pretty reserved guy. Was it hard to sort of let them into your world?
Yeah, I'm a private person, and it's difficult. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do, but it's part of promoting the fight, and if it gets people interested in me as a fighter and it gets people interested in this fight, then so be it.
And Nick, it is good to see you again. First things first, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
GSP has been all over the media saying that he really wants to beat you and fight you, and he wants you to win on Saturday night. He's rooting for you, even though he has a relationship with Carlos. They trained together in the past because he wants to beat you that badly and teach you a lesson. What do you make of that? Because that's not something that we usually hear from George.
I think a lot of that stuff isn't very genuine. I don't know how much of it is and isn't really. So I can't tell really how much of that's for real. Because I know that come press conference and after the last fight, when everybody was saying that he wants to fight, and he's pumped up and heated and angry, and I'm like, that's not true, man. Because if someone says, I just think that they were, just a lot of people are putting a lot of pressure on him to say these sorts of things. It's not really him. I think he should just stick to what he does. I would, I guess. But.
And final question, I'm wondering how much time Nick Diaz spends on the internet. I actually saw a clip that the UFC put out a couple of days ago, and the top comment on the clip, it was a preview clip, was from someone named Nick Diaz 209 saying that was not what you said. And I'm wondering if that was you, and if you do go online and look.
Oh, right, yeah,
was
good.
That you?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Yeah, because that's the kind of thing that drives me crazy. It gets me going. It gets me all into this mode where I'm going off about this whole subject because people are making me say shit I didn't say. I'm not standing here like, Saturday I'm gonna come out on top, or I'm planning on doing this, or I'm gonna win, or I didn't say it. I didn't say that. They had this build up. And it's like, I'm saying two things, and then Carlos is saying two things, and I'm saying two things, and then it says, yeah, I'm gonna come out on top. It doesn't say I'm gonna come out on top like normal, like I said. I didn't say it. They took my voice and put I'm gonna come out on top, like it's me talking two different times, and they slapped it in there. What did they do to you? What was that? What did they say when they did that to you?
I said I was going to knock him out, tap him out.
I'm going to knock him out, tap him out, but it was actually, I'm going to knock him out, tap him out. It wasn't like, I'm going to knock him out or tap him out. It was like, they chopped it, and they made him say what they wanted him to say. And they did that to me too, and that's really big. That's all people hear is me talking shit. Like, I'm going to come out on top like I'm overly confident, or, I'm talking that confidence or whatever, and I'm like, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. You don't need to make me do that,
Yeah. So he's a fascinating guy. I'm fascinated by him. I've been in this business forever. I've been in this business forever. I've dealt with every guy you could possibly deal with, and this kid is fascinating. It's
Why is it for you then?
Let me think. I don't know. I don't want to give you a Nick Diaz answer on this one. I want to give you something. You ask him questions, he knows the answer, but fuck you. I'm not going to tell you the answer. Figure the fucking answer out yourself. It's that kind of thing. Why do you have to love this so much to hate it? He knows the answer to that. And that's a fan going, fuck you. I'm not going to tell you the answer to that. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't give a shit what you think, and I'm here to fight, and I don't care if you people like me or you hate me or whatever your deal is. I don't even want to talk to you. It's almost like he hates us. What the fuck do we do? You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. He's a fascinating human being.
Kind of like
all the things that you might think about the Diaz brothers, you're not getting the call that they're hanging out in the nightclub and got into an altercation. You know what I mean? You're not getting the call that they got in a street fight here or there, or this or that happened. Nick Diaz, they said in his spare time, he runs a triathlon, he does marathons, he does all this other stuff. He doesn't like doing this shit. He doesn't like to do this, but he likes to fight.
You don't either, huh?
Yeah. Nobody loves doing all the stuff that we have to do. It's the thing about the media and doing all the media that you do, it's repetitive. You're saying the same things over and over and over again. You're talking about the same things. And that's what starts to drive these guys crazy. And one of the hardest parts about this whole thing is talking to these guys and going, this is what we do. You have to talk to them. You know, when all the people say, oh, Dana's the friggin' camera hog, he always wants to be in front of the, I'm taking the load that these guys don't want to do. These guys don't want to, you know, I'm the guy who goes out and talks about the fights every week and keeps on doing it.
Tomorrow night it goes down. I'm here ready to represent Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Or I'm ready to take my ass whooping. It's whatever.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right there. Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit. That's what it's all about. We will see you all tomorrow night. Starts on pay-per-view, 10 p.m. East Coast. Thank you very much for coming out to the weigh-ins.
Dana, a great card. Obviously, somewhat controversial main event. Who'd you score it for?
I had it scored for Condit. I had it 3-2 Condit. I gave the first 2 rounds to Nick Diaz, and I gave the last 3 rounds to Condit.
Did Condit surprise you?
No, not at all. He's a tough guy. I mean, I absolutely he surprised me in that I didn't think the fight was going to be as technical as it was. I thought those two were going to go in there and go toe to toe. I think that's what Diaz expected too. I didn't expect the movement and the in and out, and I didn't see that.
Why do you think Diaz lost the fight? Do you think he did, like he didn't game plan correctly? Do you think he did something wrong out there?
No, I think Diaz fought like Diaz. He came in, he was very aggressive. And the thing that I like about Nick Diaz too is when a guy comes out with a game plan that stylistically isn't working with him, he starts open hand slapping, he starts talking and taunting and trying to get the guy to fight his fight instead of the whatever their game plan is. And you saw in a couple cases there it started to work, and then Condit would get right back into his game plan.
Did he tell you leading up to this fight that if he lost, that he would say that something like he would retire? Did he ever bring that up?
No. Nick Diaz and I don't have in-depth conversations about his future. And
really?
No, not even close. I think he's very emotional right now. I think him and his team feel like they won the fight. And, the kid's in his prime. He'll probably go back. He'll sit down with his camp and, but this is one of those sports. Again, this is one of those sports that you're not half in, half out. You're 100% in, or you don't do this.
Do you get the sense, because he's been hinting at this, do you get the sense that his heart is not in it right now?
No. I think Nick Diaz's heart is in it. He's a fighter. This is who he is. This is what he does. I just think, it's this whole explanation he had for this love-hate relationship with the game.
Do you think he'll be back? If you were a betting man, I heard you may be. Do you think he'll be back?
I would bet that he will.
Post-fight at UFC 143 alongside Carlos Condit. And Carlos, congratulations on winning the big fight. How does it feel to be holding that belt?
It's pretty crazy, man. Honestly, I need a little bit of time to process it and let it sink in. But I'm a happy man tonight.
Why do you think you deserve to win this fight? It's a little controversial, of course.
I punched Nick Diaz in the face and hit him with harder shots, and was able to take him out of his game. I won the fight.
Were you 100% confident that they would score it for you when the fight was completed?
Yes.
Yeah. No doubts.
Nope.
Which rounds do you think you won decisively?
I felt I won the first 4 decisively. If I lost that last one, it was because it took me down and had my back for a little while towards the end.
It seemed like your confidence grew as the fight went on. Was that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of laid the groundwork in those first rounds. Hitting him with leg kicks, slowing him down, taking his mobility away from him, which is a huge part of Diaz's game, walking guys down and trapping him up against the cage. So basically by taking that aspect of his game away, I was able to open up a lot more.
What was he saying to you during the fight?
He was telling me to fight a couple times. He told me my nose was bleeding, asked me why my nose was bleeding, and I don't know. My nose was bleeding before I even went out there. I don't know.